As the crowd around the diner grew, whispers spread about who she might be. Some recognized the sealed trident on her jacket, but most just saw a quiet, unassuming woman. One of the bikers, emboldened by the audience, stepped forward, taunting her with a grin. "Think you can handle this?" he sneered. Emily's response was subtle, a small smile, a calm step closer. The tension thickened as everyone wondered the same thing. What would happen next? The leader of the group, a towering man named Rick, stepped forward, cracking his knuckles and smirking as if he'd already won. His crew watched eagerly, expecting a quick and easy show. But Emily didn't flinch. She could read the room, and she knew this wasn't just about egos. It was about control. Years of Navy SEAL missions had taught her how to handle situations where intimidation and brute strength were the only currency. She didn't need to prove anything to them, but she also couldn't let them think they could bully her or anyone else without consequence. Meanwhile, a young server inside the diner peeped nervously through the window, recognizing Emily. She had grown up hearing stories about the local woman who became a Navy SEAL, and now she was witnessing the legend in real life. Her heart raced as she debated whether to step in or call for help. Rick chuckled and took a step closer. "You're quiet," he said mockingly. "That's not much fun." Emily tilted her head slightly, measuring every detail. The distance between them, his posture, the exits around her. The crowd edged closer, eager yet uneasy, as the atmosphere buzzed with the feeling that something big was about to happen. Rick moved closer, his confidence radiating as he towered over Emily. The other bikers laughed and cheered him on, their voices echoing in the air. Emily, standing calm and steady, remained unfazed, her expression unreadable. The crowd around the diner grew larger, their whispers blending with a rumble of nearby motorcycles. No one dared to step in, all waiting to see how this standoff would unfold. Rick raised his voice, trying to rattle her. "What's the matter? Too scared to speak?" His words drew a round of laughter, but Emily's silence only deepened the tension. She locked eyes with him, her gaze sharp and unwavering. The young server inside the diner gripped her phone tightly, ready to call for help, but something stopped her. She noticed the way Emily subtly shifted her stance, her hands loose but prepared. It was as if Emily was waiting for the perfect moment, letting Rick underestimate her. Rick made his move, reaching out as if to grab her arm. In that split second, Emily's training kicked in. With a fluid motion, she sidestepped, her movements quick and precise, leaving Rick momentarily off balance. Gasps rippled through the crowd. No one saw it coming, least of all Rick. The air felt electric, charged with anticipation. Everyone could sense it. This was far from over. Rick stumbled slightly, but quickly regained his footing, his face flushed with a mix of embarrassment and anger. The laughter and cheers from his crew faltered as they realized this wasn't going to be as easy as they thought. He glared at Emily, his pride on the line now. "You've got some moves," he admitted through gritted teeth, "but let's see how long you can keep it up." Emily didn't respond, her focus locked on the group. She wasn't just dealing with Rick, she was calculating the potential moves of the others, who were now starting to close in subtly. The crowd around them tensed, sensing the shift in dynamics. It wasn't just about Rick anymore. The whole crew was now in play. Suddenly, one of the younger bikers, a wiry man named Tyler, stepped forward, clearly trying to impress the group. "Simon Rick," he said with a smirk, "she's not worth it. Let me take care of this." Tyler cracked his knuckles, the bravado in his voice masking a flicker of hesitation. Emily's sharp gaze darted to him, and for the first time, she spoke, her voice calm but firm. "You don't want to do that." Her words hung in the air like a warning, making Tyler pause for a split second. But the pressure to prove himself was too strong. The group tightened their circle, and the crowd held their breath. Emily knew this was the turning point. The stakes had just been raised, and she had to act fast. This wasn't just about defending herself anymore. It was about sending a message that she wouldn't be underestimated or cornered. As Tyler lunged forward, his overconfidence got the better of him. Emily sidestepped smoothly, using his momentum to send him stumbling past her. Before he could recover, she shifted her weight and expertly maneuvered him into a controlled hold, her movements quick and decisive. The crowd gasped as Tyler, who had seemed so sure of himself moments ago, now stood immobilized, unable to break free. Rick's face turned red with frustration. "Enough," he barked, stepping forward. The rest of the bikers hesitated, their bravado cracking as they saw how effortlessly Emily handled Tyler. But Rick wasn't about to back down. He clenched his fists, preparing to charge, when the sound of sirens pierced the tension. Everyone froze, heads turning toward the flashing lights of a sheriff's cruiser pulling into the lot. The young server from the diner stepped outside, phone in hand, her expression determined. "I wasn't going to let this go any further," she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. The sheriff stepped out, his authoritative presence enough to stop Rick in his tracks. Emily released Tyler, who scrambled backward, his face flushed with humiliation. The sheriff glanced at Emily, his expression a mix of recognition and respect. "Looks like you've got this under control," he said, tipping his hat. As the bikers shuffled nervously, Rick glared at Emily one last time. "This isn't over," he muttered under his breath before signaling for his crew to leave. Emily watched them ride off, the crowd parting to let them through. She turned to the young server and gave her a nod. "That was brave," she said, a rare smile breaking through. The diner buzzed with energy as people replayed what had just happened. But Emily, ever calm and composed, walked away quietly, leaving behind a story that the town wouldn't soon forget. As the sound of the motorcycles faded into the distance, the crowd slowly dispersed, their conversations filled with awe and respect for what they'd just witnessed. Inside the diner, the young server approached Emily hesitantly, her cheeks flushed. "I'm sorry if I overstepped," she said, glancing at the sheriff's cruiser still parked outside. Emily shook her head, her tone kind but firm. "You did the right thing. Standing up for yourself, or others, takes courage." The server nodded, her shoulders relaxing, as if Emily's words carried more weight than she expected. The sheriff tipped his hat again before driving off, leaving the small diner to return to its quiet rhythm. Emily paid for her coffee, slipping out the door with the same calm demeanor she maintained throughout. The day felt like any other again, but for those who were there, the story of the Navy SEAL who stood her ground would echo long after Emily had gone.